Welcome everyone to Bonifabcustom. Today I'm going to show you how to make the ultimate forged doors. Let's get right into the build. So the main reason for building these forged doors is to get some more adjustability and ease when opening and closing this type of forge. Now, the typical way I usually do it is I have some bricks in front of it, and it really gets frustrating when I'm trying to open and close it with my tongs because they're so hot. And if I need, say if I'm doing a billet down on this brick, I'm letting all this heat escape from here instead of being able to, say, put a door that's along the top. So I wanted to create something that I can adjust where those bricks are. I can easily open and close it or slide it, and I have the ability to rotate it so I can actually put something underneath or on top. All depends what I want to do, but I want that adjustability without being so time consuming, and I can rotate, do all this stuff without having to take something apart. Now, it sounds like it's impossible, but I think I came up with a way of doing this, doing all those things in one type of forged door. So let's make some drawings up and let's see if we can build something. So I have my preliminary drawing here, and you can see what is going to make this the ultimate forged door that I think, in my opinion, is because of its adjustability. So I can put my bricks different ways. I can turn this part, put it sideways. I can adjust the height up and down, and I'm going to make a flange that I can actually pivot it back and forth. And then we have this adjustability of these two arms that I can move it side to side. I can use one brick, I can use two bricks. I can come in from both sides. So it's really, really versatile. And for the materials I want to use something that's going to be able to take the heat and last a long time. The bolts for the hinges are going to be 5/8 steel bolts. And I'm going to be using some 1" by 3/8 thick steel for those hinges also. And for the hinges that I'm going to be welding on, I actually have this DOM tube. It is steel, really nice, thick wall, and stuff that's going to last with that heat. Now, talking about heat and steel, that's another reason I want to make these hinges a lot longer, because I want to make sure that that heat doesn't get too close to the heat that's coming out of the forge, and that way in turn it will last longer also. So let's start cutting some tubing, cutting some metal to make this forge. Once we get all our parts, then I can start bending and assembling the forged doors. pieces cut. Holes are punched out. Let's see here, the slots punched. These are all the pieces that are gonna make up the hinges, the actual bolts, and these are for the actual arms. And then I have the brick that I modified, and this I just did with a grinder and a masonry cutoff, or you can use a diamond, and I put a little notch in there, so that's what's the actual piece that's going to hold the door is going to kind of clamp inside there, just enough so it doesn't fall down, and keep it steady. And I have my cutoffs and my adjustments that I made on the CNC, and those are the 3/8 bolts that are going to be in there. And now I can start bending these parts and then start assembling it. So now I'm going to put together or weld on these threaded ends here. This one's for the main flange, and I put a nut on here so I could keep it square with the top, but I'm going to weld it from the back here. I'm just going to TIG weld that one, and this one here I ground the back of the bolt so I can weld it on there. And for the other part, flange, one that's attached to the door, that one too is going to have, it's going to be on the back here like that, and I'm going to weld that completely on there too from the back. So now I have the hinged arm all put in place. And you can see 3 pieces of tube and the 4-inch tube and the 1 by 3/8. It's all in line. I squared it all up. Now I'm going to tack weld it now that it's clamped down on the table. So let's get into tacking that, and then I can fully weld it. So for the pieces that are going to hold that refractory brick, I have it all welded. And what I need to do is put on these, I'm going to use these 3/8 pieces of stainless, and I'm going to mount them in a way that they're going to go into that groove I put in the brick. And I'm going to TIG weld them on there, and then I can get this all mounted. I have all my pieces here. There's a little bit of room here. And I'm going to start assembling the arm. And this is already assembled, and you can see how that moves. It swivels. That will be mounted on the forge. And this is still hot. That's going to be on brick. Okay, and this is the swivel for the main part of the forge, the main part of the arm. Oops. Just put a clamp on this to hold it. Okay, so now the second arm, put that on. And the main arm here. There you have it, all ready to be welded on the forge. Before I do that, I'm going to put some high temp paint on it just to make it look pretty. So I kind of dry fit them on there, and there's so much adjustability in those arms that all I have to do is basically eyeball an area that I want to put it in. I'm going to take some measurements, which I did, 6 inches from the front, 8 1/4 from the top, so I can make the same on the other side, and then I can adjust them. So what I want to do is I took off my flange, and I'm going to mount that flange. I'm going to do a couple of welds on both sides, and then I'll put the arm on and try it with it tack welded on before I start welding it completely. on there nice. And I'm going to do a nice weld on those flanges. You can see I can have it set up. Just swing it open. Or I might need a little latch here probably, but I'm gonna actually get it running for a little bit and see how they kind of hold up. So the forge doors came out really nice. We have a lot of adjustability with these doors, and that's what I was really after. Being able to adjust where I put the brick, opening and closing, and the best thing is rotating it so I can use the bottom or cover the top or the middle if I wanted to. Using two doors, one door, it's really endless the amount of adjustability on these forge doors. I ran them for a little bit, so I know that they last. There's enough space between the opening of the forge and where this arm is that it doesn't get that direct heat on there. So they're gonna last a lot longer than my bricks or a door that I would make that would just mount to the front of my forge. Thanks again for watching Bonifabcustom. If you're interested in one of these forge doors, I'm going to be having them available as a kit. Email me at bonifabcustom@gmail.com and I'll give you pricing and shipping on these forge doors. Thanks again. Don't forget to subscribe and push that button for notifications for more fabrication videos.